Hi everyone, I'm back again. I thought about just making a video. I've got a long list of videos that I want to make, and I thought about just, making a regular video and returning without saying anything, making a big statement. I am back, here I am, this is where I have been. However, I made a video about 6 weeks ago, mid to late September. I'll link it below, where I said, I'm really sorry, I've taken, I think it was a month at that point, off of YouTube, and it's the longest I've ever taken off of this channel, and this is why, and then I've done it again. So I wanted to address it. And the thing is, I also think that lots of us will be balancing all of the things. So I think it's important to share as well, because we're all going to be experiencing this stuff. This is real life. So yeah, for the sake of a sort of, it can be really crazy sometimes, I really wanted to make this video and talk about what has happened over the last, whatever it is, 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's 6 weeks. So in that video that I made, I will link it below if you want to watch the longer version of me explaining the situation. But basically, in a nutshell, at that point, it had been the summer holidays, so the kids were at home. My childcare was a little bit limited. So the time I had to do writing things, I was having to prioritise certain things. And the main thing, I keep saying thing, apologies, the main priority was to make sure that everything was all organised and in line, because I was expecting the illustrations for the new book. In fact, I had received those when I made that video. And my next task would be to digitise those images and to format the book. So I had wanted to ensure that all of the other tasks were sorted so that I could just really focus on that important next step. By the way, apologies if you can hear, it is chucking it down with rain outside, and we have the artificial lighting because it's raining and it's the UK in November, so it's a vibe. Yeah, when I made that video, I was basically saying that I had needed to ensure that all of that was done. I'd also been working on some creative workshops with young people, so that had taken up some time in preparing for it and actually doing it. So I just hadn't had the time to make any videos, because this can take a little while. Filming the video takes some time, because I've already introduced this video a number of times, and sometimes I have to re-say certain bits because I stumble over my words or I say something in a weird way. It can take an hour or two to film a sit-down video, and then the editing and the uploading and the making of the thumbnail, it takes a while. So I hadn't had the time over the summer, and I made this video saying, apologies, that's the longest I've ever gone without making a video, but I'm back, and I plan to make a video once a fortnight. And I made one video, which I think I filmed a couple of days after the I'm back now video, and it was a vlog. So vlogs are a little easier because I'm just bringing the camera along with me, so I sort of just go about my day. I don't have to sit down and take that time. Does it make sense? Just sort of bringing you along with me is much easier to film, and it's less planned out, I guess. So I made that video, and then that was it, and I vanished until, where are we, mid-November, so yeah, 6 to 8 weeks later. And just really wanted to explain what had happened. So the first thing that happened is that I had that task of the working with the illustrations, and that was an absolute priority. So it takes a lot of time to sit with the scan of the image and the physical image and ensure that the two look the same. So when somebody buys the book, they can see the artwork in the way that the artist, Rhiannon Thomas, who I've worked with on this project and a few before, that it's how she painted it, because I don't want to misrepresent her work, for it to not look as beautiful as it is in person. So I'm sat there with the illustration in front of me on my laptop screen, just working on making sure that those look the same. It does take a long time, and one of the videos I would like to make is to explain some of the ways that I do that, and how I use the tools at my disposal to do that. I knew from previous experience that that takes a long time to do. So I knew that I would be spending long periods of time just staring at my laptop screen. Now, if you are new to this channel, my working week it looks like I work 2 days as a teacher in a school, and then I work 2.5 days as a writer, and then I have a half day that I work as a volunteer. So I was looking at 2 days working on the images and maybe half a day on filming. So what I thought is film 1 week, edit the next, and then that's just a couple of hours each week, completely doable. And then, I shouldn't say these things out loud. Maybe this video is a mistake. What happened was, not that long after I made that video, it must have been the next week or very, very soon afterwards, I received a phone call from another school. So I was finishing up a contract, a fixed term contract in one school, and that finished in the October holidays just gone. And I received a phone call from another school that I work with saying, could you come in? We really need you to cover, because I cover directly in 2 schools. So if somebody is off, it's usually for like a long-term thing that I will go in and cover, and then I can sort of, if there are gaps in that, then I can do some agency supply work as well. But it means that I know the schools, I know how they work, I know their policies, I know my way around. It works really, really well for me. I feel really comfortable in those environments. I know the children. So anyway, so I received this phone call from this school saying, you know, what can you do? And I said nothing. It's manic. I have no time. And they were like, please. So I looked at my life, and I rang my husband and said to him, you know, the school really need me in this situation. The children need, you know, continuity and blah stuff. So, but also with one contract finishing and nothing in place after that, it would be really good to work here, and then that can carry on beyond. So I rang my husband and was like, you know how things are for me right now. I feel like I should do this, but and he agreed. He was like, yeah, no, it makes sense for you to do this, but also, oh my goodness. So we had a little chat about how we could make this work with the pressures that I was under, the pressures he's under. And so what it would mean is I would be 2 days in one school, 1 day in another school, and then when one contract finished, I would then go to the 2 days at the school I was 1 day at. I hope that makes sense, so that I can help them out a little bit more. So in the remaining 3 days that I would have to stop doing volunteer work for that period of time where the 2 were crossing, that I would not have time to make YouTube videos, and that actually the housework that I tend to do while I'm here was not going to happen, and we were really going to struggle with keeping on top of things. So we talked about that we would get a cleaner, which we did, so that somebody could just take that off of my plate as well. We both agreed that the priority was, let's get the book done, because this book isn't being released until February, but I have previous experience that the unknown, the unknown will make itself known. What is it, the Terry Pratchett thing? The 1 in a million things will happen 9 times out of 10 or something. Well, I can't remember the exact quote, that's probably terribly wrong. But there will always be unforeseen little things, like when you actually see the book in person, it doesn't quite look how you thought, so you might need to tweak maybe the images, or maybe the text is slightly out of line, or maybe there's some weird little error has crept in that you just don't know until you see the book. And until, so on this book I'm working with Natural England, so they needed to see it, the proofreader needs to see it, and I might need to go back into the files and do some work on it. So the quicker I could get through all of that and get to the proof point meant that then I had as much time as possible if I had to revisit anything, as well as marketing time, which is important too. And for me, what I didn't want to happen from past experience is that I have a deadline fast approaching and there are issues that I need to fix, and I am panicking because I know that I fix it, I order a proof, I get the proof, it doesn't look right, I fix it, that can take a number of revisions, and if that happens, between each proof is a week. So those weeks disappear very, very quickly. And so, yeah, it had to be done. And so with that being the absolute priority, everything else just had to fall away. And I'd have video ideas and I really wanted to film something, but when, I'm not doing my volunteer work, I'm not cleaning my house, I'm not, doing all the things, I can't justify spending an hour or two filming something and then editing and so on and so on. I have essentially just spent entire working days, which, because my kids are school age, it's 9 till 3, just sitting there at a laptop, just working on the minutiae of making an image absolutely perfectly represented. And I know I'm a perfectionist, and I know there are a lot of authors who would just be like, why are you going to so much effort? But to me, it's really important. So, yeah, it needed to be done. But to add into that mix, because I vlogged a day where I was selling books in Canterbury, and filming a vlog is a lot easier than this kind of sit-down video in terms of the actual filming, because if you're just living your life and bringing your camera and just being like, hey, I'm doing a thing, and then you do some stuff and then you pick your camera up again and go, oh, since then I'm doing this thing and here's something, look at this. That takes a lot less time, has less of an impact on your day than thinking of something you want to talk about, sitting down to film it, and as I say, this can take time. It can take me a few attempts to get the words out. You might notice that I'm a little rambly. So anyway, that vlog was quite easy to film and I edited it one evening, so that was simple to do. But to film a sit-down video, I couldn't free up that time. What I did think was, well, the October holidays are coming up soon. I'll have finished the one contract, starting the next. So perhaps I'll do like a day in the life. Perhaps we were going away to our family caravan. Maybe I'll film a day there. Maybe I'll have some time to do a sit-down video really quickly. So I thought that'll only be a couple of weeks since my last video. I'll do that. And then I got COVID. So the last week of term, like honestly, I don't know if any of the people watching these videos are also teachers, and I'd be interested to know on what you thought, but I have never known a September term like it. Everybody was exhausted, really burnt out, and really like kind of under the weather. And I can't think of another September that was as pronounced as that. Everybody seemed to be feeling it. Everybody was really like, I am so struggling with just like the workload, and it was a lot. And I'd be interested to know whether any other teachers watching this felt that was a really intense term. So I had this real intense school life, really intense writing life. Obviously working in schools, you come into contact with lots and lots of people, and I think I was just really run down. What started as like a vocal strain from teaching and singing and being run down slowly sort of turned into COVID. And I've had COVID before. I had it in the, wasn't the first lockdown, because I remember testing for it, so maybe it was the second lockdown, I can't remember, but I've had it. And I remember having a day where I felt a bit like I just needed to lie down, but other than that, I was fine. This time, I mean, I was just exhausted, utterly exhausted, and I kept getting motion sickness, which is not something I really get. If I was in the car, I would just feel really unwell. If we went out for a short time, I would need to go and have a lie down. So that last week of term, I couldn't go in school, which meant that the contract I finished then, I didn't get to go and say goodbye, which was really, really hard. I was not well at all. And then I was feeling a bit better, and we went away to the caravan. And then as I was better, we went away to the caravan, and I still just slept. I didn't join in. You know, I couldn't have vlogged anything because I didn't do anything. I was asleep. Well, my children had a nice time. So yeah, my intention of, oh, it's the holidays, so I could film a nice day out. No, I couldn't. And then even once we were back, yeah, I still was just shattered. We didn't go anywhere. Normally I take my kids for days out. I was just really wiped out. It's just the best way I can describe it. It's like I recovered from it, and then I just had a couple of weeks, even once I was back at work, where I was just really, really tired. I had to go to bed early. I was just, yeah, really feeling it. So then I'm in the position where that contract had ended. And so I've got a little bit more time again, still finishing off the bits I was doing on the book, but I'm still like really, really exhausted. So YouTube just didn't happen. It was busy with writing stuff, doing more teaching stuff than I prefer to do. 2 days a week really is as much as I can manage. 3 days for protracted periods of time is really hard. The balance between writing, teaching and kids and the sort of family things and the nights out and this, you know, just all the life things just goes completely to hell. So I can do it short term, but long term it just becomes really, really hard. And it was that busy with writing and busy with teaching just hit at the same time. If I hadn't have had a writing thing, then obviously that can then pull back in those days so that I get some respite, and I can sort of take care of myself a little bit. But it didn't happen. So just, yeah, with all of that, with the real intense part, the most intense part, I would say, of book creation for a kid's book, along with busier than I prefer to be in teaching, and then I ended up unwell. It just, I had no capacity to sort of, no time, but also no like creative, mental, to sort of sit down and, I mean, you can tell I'm still not very coherent, clearly. Yeah, it was, you know, it's just really busy. When I'm saying all of this, these are all good problems. Like, I had too much work. What a great thing. You know, I've gone through periods of time where I really haven't had enough work. So I'm very grateful for that. But in the short term, that is hard to manage. That's part of why I wanted to talk about it, because many creative small business owners, particularly authors, but lots of us have another job, because particularly when you're starting out with your business, it takes time to grow any business and make money from it, to make a living. But often we have to balance this with another job so that we can ensure that we can pay our bills. And this workload in owning your own business can be very lumpy. And for me, I pair that with a teaching, not job, because I have like multiple, but a teaching life, I guess, that is also lumpy. Like, I might do a whole load of work because it all comes at once, and then I might have a number of weeks where I'm not in schools. So I have been in schools all of this year, you know, all the way through. Since January, I haven't had a week off other than the school holidays. But in the past and in the future, there will be times where I'm not necessarily doing anything. So it ebbs and flows, and it's just typical that it all comes at once. It's tricky when you're feeling that pressure, and for me, sort of the impact on my mental health, but I mean in terms of feeling really stressed, really tired. I have to sleep a lot when I'm busy like that, and I don't sleep very well because I'm running through everything all night. That sort of impact is like, I'm so grateful that I have this amazing book project, that I have schools that I love who want to work with me, and, you know, opportunities. Obviously, if I'm covering somebody, then sometimes that's, you know, I'm feeling for the person who is off. But you know what I mean? I've got work, like that. I'm so grateful for that. But at the same time, to feel that this is hard though, and I know it's not forever, but it's just right now I'm finding it really hard to balance everything. In a couple of months' time, I've got a really creaky chair. In a couple of months' time, it might be that I'm not that busy, and, you know, I'm able to do life admin things during my day because I don't have that much on, or I can, you know, more importantly, I can work on new projects and have new ideas and all this. But just that balancing act between all of the things is really, really hard if you are a business owner, because you don't really ever get any time off. And when you're trying to balance that with an employment situation, and I think that's something lots of us will have. So that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I'm sure that lots of you either have been or will be in a situation where you have to try and make it work. For me, that was about having a really honest conversation with my husband, you know, obviously whoever is in your life that you live with, you know, the people who are significant in your life, to say, like, this is what's happening with me right now, and this is the impact that it will have. How do we make this work? Which is what we did. And that didn't mean that it wasn't still hard, but we'd put the things in place to make it easier to deal with, and to say, like, I'm not going to be able to do this aspect of things, so can you do it, or do we need to put something in place? I will add, into all of this stuff that I've been talking about in this video and the one before, we also have building work. I actually didn't think I'd be able to film here at my desk because the building work is right there, I can see it, and I was expecting roofers to be in today, and I was thinking I'm going to have to find somewhere else in my house to film, and you'll be able to hear all the banging and stuff, but because it's raining, they're not here. So that's another thing, is to be sort of letting workmen in and check that they are fueled with tea, answer their questions. We've been sorting out quotes and organising when people will come, and building materials, and, you know, so that's another drain. Like, people say, if you have, like, when you move, is like, you know, renovations also is really stressful. So we have a lot on our plate anyway. So to then be really busy kind of is tricky. But right now, to get to the point, the book is done. I sent it to Natural England yesterday as I'm filming this. There will be more things to do, because they will look at it and have thoughts on bits that they want to you know, potentially tweak a little bit. We are right at the end, so we are talking tiny details now. And the book will, once they've seen it, it will go to the proofreader. So again, there will be small things that I will need to go back in and look at. But that big bulk of work is done. It's done. So, and I'm also only in schools 2 days a week right now. So that means that I have 2.5 days. I'm back in my volunteer work. I volunteer as a breastfeeding counsellor. I am now able to make videos, to prepare for the selling events that I have coming up, some of the creative ideas I have around that. I can take another look at my novel. I can work at a comfortable pace. And do you know what part of it is for me as well? In a normal writing working day, I do many different tasks. So an hour of that, an hour of this. You know, I might do a bit of social media. I might write something. I might answer some emails. So I'm like changing my activity throughout the day. But to sit for whatever it is, 6 hours straight, just working on one kind of task, is really hard for me. For most people, I would think, but it's not the way I prefer to work. If I had endless time, I might spend an hour or two doing that, but I don't have endless time. So it meant that also during that period of time, I was doing not my favourite way of working as well. So that's, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just sort of drained. I've actually hurt my arm. I've got like shooting pains up my neck because of using the touchpad mouse on my laptop, because I find that the mice that I have, I always feel like mice is a weird plural for computer mice, but anyway, they're not sensitive enough, and I do need to look at getting maybe like a gaming mouse that's much more sensitive, because I've had to use the pad because that has that sensitivity, but because of the tension that puts up my arm, I've ended up with sort of arm pain and neck pain, and it will go, and it's my own stupid fault. But there's that too, from just sitting all day in the same position doing the same thing. It's not ideal. It's not the sort of healthiest habit. So things are looking better. I feel just relief that I managed to do it, and now we're in the nice bit where the book is a real thing, and I'll get the proof, and then I can tell people all about it. I'll make videos. I have plans. There'll be a cover announcement, and I want to talk to Rhiannon, the illustrator, on here and talk about the whole project, and it's really, really exciting. We're into the exciting bit now, so that's really good, but it just has been a lot. So I am back because I'm now into my normal working life, and I have loads of really fun videos planned for you guys. So I'm going to be sharing, I haven't talked about what I've been reading for forever. I also want to do a bookcase tour because I have not done one probably for 4 or 5 years. I want to, as I say, show you how I edit images. I want to talk about in-person selling events and the things I've learned and the things I take with me. I've got lots of thoughts. I've got videos that I want to make for you. So that's what's going to happen over the next few weeks. Lots of exciting new book news, as well as other bits and pieces. As always, if there are videos you would like me to make, please do tell me and I will try to. I do keep a little note of them. And I just apologise for my poor service since July, probably. Life got in the way. You know, I love YouTube. I made this channel before my first book even came out. This is like, these videos are sort of a, what's the word? Like a digital scrapbook almost of that experience, and I'm really proud of that, you know, that people find it useful and all of that. I love this channel, and so I just feel really bad if I don't show up for it, because it is important to me and I don't want anybody to think that it isn't. But obviously earning money to like pay my bills, feed my children, you know, is I gotta do it. So in an ideal world, I would have, there was a kids TV program where a kid had like a watch and could stop time. If I could do that and just like do what I need to do, and then when I'm done, just let's go again. That could somebody invent that, please? That would be really helpful. Thank you for watching. I will be back next week for something. I haven't decided which video I'm going to make first of all of them. If you've stuck around to the end of this rambly video, then thank you so much. Please hit like, leave me a comment. Tell me, I would love to know like your balance challenges, because it must be something that we all face and struggle with. Like I said, even when they are good problems, it's you know, it's still tough. So yeah, leave me a comment, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. There will be videos, I promise. Yeah, and it's nice to be back. Take care.